Welcome to our story from out of the past. Today I'm going to visit with Gordon Kellander. He's a Martin County native, is that right, Gordon?
Mm-hmm.
And he has some experiences in World War II that I think are really interesting, and he's going to tell us about some of those.
Oh, I helped pull gas barrels out of the ocean on Lady when that aircraft carrier was sunk. And the Wildcats and airplanes came in and landed on a grass strip at Dulag. And of course, none of them had gas. They had to get out, so they threw the gas barrels in the ocean. They came into the tide at night. So we had to lift them out of there, 55-gallon barrels. And I was running a crane with barrel hooks. So we'd pick up 2 barrels at a time and load them in the trucks. And right to the airport they'd go, and then put the pump in and crank the crank and right into the fuel tanks of the Wildcats.
Did you ever think during that time that, gee, maybe I'm not going to make it back to the States?
Oh, sure, a lot of times. It was nip and tuck sometimes, I'll tell you.
Did you carry weapons in too, being that you were working with a...
And I never fired a shot through the whole war.
You didn't?
Never, no reason to. Never wanted to shoot anybody. But that's how you can go through the whole war and not even fire a round out of your rifle. Yes, it's with you night and day. Oh, I picked up the first Baka bomb that went back to intelligence.
What's that?
Our outfit on Kadena Airport on Okinawa discovered a Baka bomb. It was a suicide bomb Japan had, where they strapped the guys into the cockpit, and they rode over in Betty bombers. Then the pilot would sit down in this plane underneath, and they dropped the airplane, and he dived into the aircraft carriers and stuff. Suicide deal, see?
Really?
Yeah, they started the first suicide deals in the world, Well,
was this a bomb then that didn't go off?
No. Oh, no, it was under a shelter.
Oh.
They had it at Kadena Airport. It was under a camouflage net.
Oh, okay.
And our guys found it. And they got it. Somebody told them, they told the military about it, and they said, we got to get that back to intelligence, back to the United States, so they could look at it. So they had it down on the beach. And I was running a crane. They told me, come on over and pick that up and load it in a tank lighter so it could get out to the ship and get it around. So I loaded the first Baka bomb out of there. That was another dumb thing that happened.
Was that a little scary? Were you concerned that it might?
Not really. One night, when we first landed on Kwajalein, there was a gravel street like down through a village, and everything was cluttered with junk. So we worked night and day and had some lights on the dozer. They were yellow lights. You couldn't see nothing with them. And I'm pushing down the street, pushing junk off the street. All of a sudden, I heard something bumpity-bump in front of the dozer. I thought, wonder what that is. I went a little farther and bumpity-bump. I thought, maybe I better go look. So I stopped and crawled off and looked. I had 2 16-inch battle wagon shells rolling in front of my dozer blade. Yeah, from my battle wagon. Duds, they hadn't gone off. I'm pushing them around. I backed up very carefully.
Yeah, I would say.
And told the ordnance guys, and they put a flag by them, and next morning the ordnance came and took the fuse out of them. They hadn't exploded.
Well, you kind of hit a streak of luck there in that
case.
Yeah,
you bet. When we landed on Kwajalein, I went in D-1, the day before D-Day. And I landed on an island a mile west of Kwajalein that was, in our code books, it was Carlson Island. It had another name. It also had a huge steel tower on the island that was a radio contract with Tokyo. It's the only contact the Japs had, was through that radio tower. Well, I landed there at D-1 and helped set up 150 105 howitzers. And my job was, I came off the tank lighter with the D8 again, but a half track backed in ahead of me after I loaded on it. They backed in on top in front of me. And when we came to shore, a sniper was shooting at us on the island. And I got a bullet hole through my fuel tank right beside me. And there were 250 calibers on the back of the half track, and the mounts were made of railway motors.
Really?
They made them during the war, yeah. And the 2 guys on the 50s, of course, they couldn't get their guns high enough to get the sniper, so they sawed the tree off with the 50s. And the chips just flew, and down came the tree, and the sniper hit the ground and was kind of stunned. And of course, then they shot him, So we finally got to shore, and I knocked trees down all over the island so they could fire with their artillery. And they set up 150 105s for D-Day, which was the next day.
What was D-Day like then where you were at?
Well, it was pretty quiet. except some of the guns finally got the trail set in, and they started firing, and one of the guns blew up in front of them. And so they started checking ammunition, and all the ammunition had, a lot of boxes of ammo had come out of the Denver arsenal. Any boxes with Denver on them, they had to move aside. They didn't trust them anymore. They were sabotaged.
Really?
Yeah, the guns were blowing up in the guys' faces.
Well, I'm sure, you know, war is not a pretty thing or a good experience, but do you have some pleasant memories of that period of time?
Oh, yeah, sure. We had a lot of fun, different times, you know. Going to shows and stuff in Hawaii and, I don't know, a lot of things. But we stole 6 Jeeps in our career. We got so good at it that nobody could catch us anymore. We changed the W number, and we put on our major's W number on the hood. And one time I went to Island headquarters where Vinegar Joe Stillwell was. I saw him. And this was on Okinawa. So the MP stopped us and looked. They said, "No, your number's not hot." There were Jeeps stolen all over the place. They had a whole clipboard full of numbers. "No, this number's not hot," he said. And we had revamped the Jeep, the back seat we threw in a gully and put in a beautiful black leather seat out of a Japanese truck that was softer to ride on. That's how you got by with stuff. There were stolen Jeeps everywhere.
Sounds like you had some fun then, huh?
Well, we did. Yeah, and there was a crazy kid by the name of Bill McGuire from California on Attu. He came walking out of the mud one night after the mess hall had shut down. Everybody said, "What happened, Bill? How come you're so late for supper?" "Well, I had that stolen Jeep," he said, "and you might know I had to give a hitchhiker a ride. And I found out it was the lieutenant from the Signal Corps that owned the Jeep, and he threw me out in the mud. That's my Jeep you're driving." Oh, that's funny.
Gave the wrong guy a ride.
Yeah, he gave the wrong guy a ride. No more hitchhikers, he said. They can walk.
Well, thank you, Gordon. Appreciate it.
Yeah,
And
thank you.
Glad for what you did. This is Lenny Tweeten for Our Story Out of the Past in the Military Room of the Pioneer Museum. Until next time.